Let's head out to Capitol Hill. Congressman Richard Hudson joins us. Congressman, you've got a bill on the table that would stop refugees from coming into America unless there's a serious vetting process. How would that process look?
Well, Charles, great to be with you. The bill we passed out of the House with a bipartisan two-thirds vote simply says let's pause the flow of refugees from Syria and Iraq until President Obama's own security officials can certify that they've had an adequate background check.
When you say security officials, are you talking folks like Jim Comey, who's actually bucked the White House on more than one occasion with respect to how safe the vetting process is and how safe we are with these refugees pouring in?
Absolutely. Jim Comey, the FBI director, and frankly, it was his testimony before Congress when he said, we don't have information on these folks coming from Syria, and you can query until the cows come home and nothing will show up. And that's his testimony is what sparked the need for this legislation. And so hopefully Mitch McConnell will bring it up quickly in the Senate, and we can get some assurance to the American people that their government is looking out for their security.
Representative Hudson, I think one of the big issues, and of course we saw what happened with this Philadelphia police officer who was shot at more than a dozen times, still bravely got out to return fire at his assailant who had pledged or said he committed this atrocity in the name of Islam. Philadelphia mayor quickly saying Islam is not a bad religion. It was not part of the problem. Of course, Philadelphia, a major sanctuary city. This big problem with hundreds of sanctuary cities essentially rolling out the red carpet while some in Congress are trying to do something about it. It feels like they continue to win at this.
They do, Charles. And the other thing is we've got to be honest with American people. Instead of calling acts of terrorism that are happening here in America workplace violence or trying to downplay them, we need to be honest about what's happening. And gun control is not going to solve it. We've got a very determined enemy. The FBI is doing a tremendous job, but we've got to be honest with American people about what's happening.
What about quickly, listen, there's 1.3 billion Muslims in this world, so we do business with a lot of them. Indonesia's got a lot of them, more probably than any other country, I think, in fact. Business person who does business in America from United Arab Emirates, how do we separate them, or do we just do this whole blanket thing where no one comes in until we revamp the whole system, whether they've been friends of ours, known friends of ours for decades?
Well, if you're talking about visa waivers, where if you've visited one of the countries we're concerned cannot come into the United States without first going through the process of getting a visa, or if you're talking about refugees from Syria and Iraq, I don't think it's about religion. I think the better way to handle it is let's look at these problem areas and let's do a much better job of making sure we know who's coming to the U.S. from these areas.
Yeah, you know what? It's an intelligent approach, and it's hard to imagine that you get a lot of resistance from it. We appreciate the work you're doing, and thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you, Charles.
Thanks a lot. Of course, don't forget.